Hey Tyler, we talked a little bit before the Mexico game about what it was like to play on a yellow, knowing that another one would result in suspension.
Mm.
You described sort of very in detail how you can't play differently, you
Right.
can't let that get in your head. It seems like for tomorrow, the one thing that could really make things a bit weird is if there's a red card, and all of a sudden, for some reason, CONCACAF gets strange, and all of a sudden it's 10 on 11, and that could make things difficult. Has there been any talk or any thought about any little shove, any little sort of hands up, any little chest bump, any little confrontation could result in making this game more difficult than it has to be? And you guys sort of factor that into how you're going to approach it?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure that Greg will talk to the team about that today, that we can't go into this game being naive in any matters. But we've been clever up to this point. The group has handled many tricky situations very well. We've learned a lot throughout how the refs are going to deal with certain situations, and what they're going to call, what they're not going to call, what they're looking for. Also, obviously having VAR, you always need to be a little bit more clever. But we're not going into the game with the mindset that we're going to get a red card, and you always want to avoid that at any matter.
Just a point of clarification on the card situation. If a player receives their second yellow from the competition in the match tomorrow night, that suspension would carry over to the Intercontinental Playoff. However, if you're not in the Intercontinental Playoff and you pick up your second yellow in the competition tomorrow, that suspension would not transfer to the World Cup.
Straight red?
A straight red, we're confirming, but as of now, that's our belief. Okay? Paul.
Tyler, I wonder, you're close with Christian.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen him kind of struggle at times with the responsibility placed on his shoulder, the expectations placed on his shoulders. He's talked about it, both for club and country. Against Panama, he was fantastic, and he seemed almost to embrace the responsibility. The emotion that we saw from Christian is different than his typical kind of introverted personality. You're good friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think changed? What do you think made him kind of come out the way he did? And how different is this team if Christian's playing at that level every game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm close friends with him, and I'd be the first to tell you when he's playing at his highest level, then he's one of the best players I've played with. The ability that he has, what he offers to the team, his creativity, his ability to score goals like he did last game, just put people in good positions. He's really, really dangerous and hard to defend. So, yeah, I mean, I think that Christian has always felt that responsibility. Him growing up as sort of that golden child in the U.S. soccer generation, people put expectations on him. And to be quite frank with you, he's dealt with them better than anybody would really deal with that. In every single situation, he's expected to do things that people like Messi and Ronaldo are supposed to do. He's supposed to bring us to the World Cup, and I think that he's seeing now that with the quality of team that we have, that he can take a little bit more or less responsibility, because we have the quality of players now that can pick up a little bit of that slack and continue to help him. So, we just always want to put him in the best position to succeed, but he's doing a great job.
Ron.
Hi, Tom. How much, assuming things go your way tomorrow night, do you celebrate the accomplishment tomorrow night versus turning your attention to the task at hand in November?
To the task at hand. To the World Cup. No, of course you're going to celebrate your accomplishments, but first we have to take care of business tomorrow.
Grant.
Tyler, it's been a 13-game journey in this qualifying campaign. You talked about 3-game windows, all this compressed in a few months. What part of that journey over 13 games has sort of been what you expected? Are there any things that stand out that you didn't expect?
Yeah, we've learned a lot as a group so far throughout this journey, and one of the big takeaways I take throughout this is the maturity that we've gained in game management and how we kind of manage each and every game. We've learned that no game that we're going to have is going to be easy. You can't go into any game with the expectation that you're going to blow a team away. Even when you look at the last game against Panama, it wasn't our best performance by any means, and Panama had chances and they could have scored goals. And you look back on these performances and you have to see how you can improve. But one thing I would really take away is how difficult the away games are. Going to these away venues, nothing comes easy. You have to take your chances when you can.
Steve.
So this is just kind of a weird game tomorrow, right? I mean, you don't have to win. You don't even have to tie. But of course, your nature is to get at least a point on the road and perhaps win for the first time here. So how do you approach a strange game like this, where it's not just win or lose or even draw?
To win. I want to go into every game with the mindset that we're going to win. And, you know, we're in a position right now where, yeah, history sort of speaks, where we can come to Costa Rica and get the first win in, you know, the qualification process for the national team. So, you know, for us, it's again, putting a check mark next to something that no other team has done. We've had this game-by-game mentality, and, you know, some of these stipulations come with it that we can be one of the first teams to do this and have that accomplishment. So it would be, you know, a big accomplishment for the team, for the coaching staff to come here and have a successful result.
Kyle?
Yeah, Tyler, obviously, the story's not over, but when you look back over qualification, what are the moments that stand out from both a positive standpoint and a negative standpoint as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of ups and downs. I think that we're just coming, you know, into this last international window, finding our best consistency now. You know, we've learned a lot throughout the first windows, and, you know, we've had some big games where we could have done better and we felt like we could have had more, and there's some games where we felt like, wow, we played well and we're taking a step in the right direction. You know, our goal at the end of this qualifying, though, is to say that we're on the up of our development and we're continuing to move in the right direction.
Sam?
Thinking back to that first window 6-7 months ago now, there's a lot of talk, including from yourself, pretty bold, pretty confident, understandable coming off the summer you guys had. Do you think you guys had much of an idea of what you were actually getting into in terms of World Cup qualifying?
Probably not. You know, and again, it's one of those things where I look back at it and you say, you know, maybe we were a bit naive in a certain sense. You know, you have certain guys on our team that have kind of gone through that qualifying process, but I don't think they could have really put into words or stressed the difference that a World Cup qualifying process is like. So, again, you know, it's good to be in the position that we are in now and say to ourselves, yeah, this was very, very difficult. You know, having one game left, we have to take care of business, but I think we're happy with the development of the group and the direction that we're moving in and how we approach each and every game with the right mentality. And, you know, we're not looking too far ahead, because I think in the beginning of qualifying, we might have been looking too far ahead and saying this is the match we're excited for, this is the match we're excited for, whereas now we've slowed ourselves down. We're a little bit more composed in the big games, and we approach each and every game, you know, game by game.
Daniel?
If this Tyler version from San Jose could give an advice to the Tyler version in San Salvador just at the beginning of the qualifiers after the experience you gained, what will be that advice?
I mean, I don't know where it's a tricky one. We're in a completely different position. You know, one was, you know, I'm excited to start off this qualifying process and you know, reach the World Cup. And now we're in a position where it's tangible. It's right in front of us, and now we just have to take it, you know, one more game, and that goal can become a reality.
Ivis?
So there's been this ghost hanging over this entire qualifying campaign, and that's the 2017 failure. And fans have had angst throughout this whole process, even now with the position you're in, they're still nervous. Have you kind of felt that yourself, or been aware of that's why maybe fans have been on edge throughout this whole process? And coming into this match, like how much are the guys who've been through it, the 4 or 5 guys that are here that have been through it, how much do they kind of remind you, hey, we thought we were in a good position 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we finish.
I mean, it's exactly like you just said, right? Like, no matter what position you're in, whether you can go into the game tomorrow and lose by 10 or win by 10 or whatever the circumstances are, we haven't qualified for the World Cup, and that's the reality of things. And, you know, the guys have told us that have been here and through this path before that, you know, we thought we qualified last World Cup as well. The fans thought we did as well. But we hadn't when we realized our game was finished and we lost. So we're going into this game with the mentality to win. You know, whatever players step on that field, we'll be ready to play, and that's the bottom line.
Charlie?
Tyler, one of my colleagues crunched some numbers and came out that you played more than 80% of the minutes in the octagonal, which is a compliment to you, but also maybe a sign of, I don't know if dependence is the right word, but I wonder if you feel that responsibility, and is there a weakness there in the sense of, you know, if something happens to you, there's suddenly a big hole at the base of midfield?
No, I mean, yeah, I'm happy, of course, to contribute wherever I can and play as many games as possible. You know, I just want to play at the end of the day and be able to contribute. But no, in that sense, I don't think so at all. I mean, you've seen it before. I think it was the last window when I got injured against Canada. The next game we played Honduras, and Kellen, an established player in our team, steps in and I think he has 3 assists or whatnot. We have the depth of our team is unbelievable. We always have that next man up mentality, and guys are ready to contribute. So, for me, I'm happy to be an important player in the team and be able to contribute where I can and when I can. But we have such a quality team that it's always the next man up.
And one follow-up on what Brian asked.
Mhm.
The Costa Ricans drew a red card off of Canada the other day.
Yeah.
They can be pretty clever.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you've taken note of that. I wonder how you approach that sort of track record that they've established.
I plan on not getting a red card.
Good plan. We're going to take a couple questions from those joining through video conference, and we'll begin with Emily Olson from USA Today.
Hi, Tyler. Thanks, Michael. I just wanted to ask, you talk about where the team was going into this window. Now it's been 7 months. There's been 30 different players in and out. As someone who's been integral to this group, beyond saying next man up mentality, how would you explain or define who the U.S. men's national team is as a collective through this process?
Yeah. As a team, we've created bonds and a chemistry that, to be honest with you, is very, very different than a lot of teams that I've played in. And I think that comes down to the fact that we're young. We've played together in the youth national teams before. And we've really prepared ourselves for this opportunity. Greg speaks on the fact that, coming into World Cup qualifying, we really want to rewrite how these American fans view us, not just through our style of play, but our intensity, our commitment, our belief that we want to take U.S. soccer to the next level. And I think, everyone has really bought into that fact, and that's really infected the team in a way.
Next will be Pilar Perez from ESPN.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, Tyler. Hope you can hear me well. My Wi-Fi is not very good. So Costa Rica is a team that like to play physically hard. We're talking right now about yellow cards and red cards, but they actually have 14 players on yellow card, 9 of them regularly starters. How to avoid getting into that type of game, you having more technique and speed?
Yeah, we're not really so concerned about how many yellow cards Costa Rica has. We're very focused on how we want to approach the game and control the game. I think coming down here, one of the key factors in order for us to have a successful outing is how much we really can control. So whether that's with the ball or defensively creating situations where we're able to score goals. I think that our preparation going into this game won't be so focused on how many yellow cards Costa Rica has.
We'll take 2 more for Tyler and continue with Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Tyler, obviously, like you've said, and everyone's kind of said, that this has become a brotherhood, and you've have guys who have grown up together and grown through this process together. And when you look at this team as it is now, there are obviously a few guys missing. Guys like Weston and Serginho and Brendan, and I'm sure those guys would love to be there and to be a part of what could be a very big night for you guys. How have you guys been communicating with some of the guys who aren't here, and how have you guys been kind of making it feel involved, being that this is such a deep team that has all kind of accomplished what could be accomplished tomorrow together?
Yeah, like you said, firstly, it is a brotherhood. 3 hours before the game in Mexico, I was on FaceTime with Weston, and he was wishing me good luck, and he wanted us to take care of business and to tell everyone good luck. And the next game, I wasn't expecting another call from him, and I got another call from him 3 hours before the game. So we're very connected. This goes deeper than the football. We've created friendships and relationships with guys that translate completely onto the field. So we really miss those guys. They're important pieces to our team. But again, it's good to have more guys that are able to come in and play pivotal roles in our team.
Last question comes from John Lupo from Vavel.
Tyler, just talk about we know the opportunity is there tomorrow to be the first ever U.S. men's national team to win a qualifier in Costa Rica, and of course that would clinch a spot in the World Cup. But has Greg said anything to you about maybe just keeping you guys calm and level-headed? What's the excitement level through the team? How do you we know how Costa Rica is going to play. We know how you guys are going to play, but mentally, how are you approaching that game where you keep your excitement level up to a point where you know it's in front of you, but down to a point where you just focus on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty calm going into every single game. I think the team is as well. You know, we believe that there's no better way to mentally prepare than preparing through the video and tactically and knowing your role and your job and what you have to do. Yeah, I think we know how we're going to play, like you said, mentally going into the game. The excitement level, yeah, I mean, I think we have an opportunity at hand to do something special. I think that's what's exciting. You know, we're not thinking too far ahead. We still need to take care of business tomorrow before, we look towards a World Cup.